Welcome to LongBox Comics, where we explore comics pulled from the long box. Except for this one. This one is a hardback. With the intro over, we open this issue with Batman, Katana, Phantom Stranger, and Deadman trying to enter heaven through purgatory. The last we knew, Dr. Light is in heaven, and they're trying to get answers from Dr. Light to see if he knew anything whatsoever, right? And while they're in purgatory, I want to take notice of the dead there. They have a cool ability where like tendrils come out of them, and if they hit you, they suck the life out of you, which is a cool ability. And the downside of this one is if it tries to suck the life out of it undead, which doesn't have life, they get stunned. I'd like to see this idea explored further, kind of like a comic of where people get trapped in purgatory, and now they have to flee, in a sense, from the undead. Or what if the undead in purgatory escape, and they get down to Earth? That would be cool. What if the undead from purgatory escape, they get down to Earth, and they just begin sucking the life out of people? And the only people that can stop them are the undead, the Justice League Dark kind of people. That'd be neat. We're showing how they enter purgatory. It's in this strange mansion through a strange mirror. Of course, Phantom Stranger gives a ominous warning that he cannot go back to heaven, and he cannot try to release a soul, or else dun 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 dun. And when they do get into heaven, when they do find their way into heaven, led by a stranger, it looks quite different than they had imagined, than I had imagined. Most people probably didn't imagine seeing a neighborhood with bustling with activity, with people just running around this part of the neighborhood. It looks kind of like a neighbor, one of the boroughs in New York, right? It looks kind of like a city. However, that said, when they're looking around, Batman and Katana are not trained to deal with heaven, not at all. Stranger has been there before, and Deadman is dead. And we see Katana's heaven first. Katana's heaven is a peaceful grove by a calm lake, right? Where she sits with a loved one. I presume it's a loved one. It's inferred. And honestly, who can fault her for wanting to be with her loved one after he was lost? Or, like, who can fault Katana for that? Like, if you lost somebody you love dearly, you would do anything to be with him forever. And then Stranger's like, no, stop that. No, that's bad. You can't stay here. And Stranger interrupts Katana's heaven, and she's not happy because she just got torn from her loved one. And Stranger's like, let's go. And this is a panel where Katana is kneeling on the ground, full kit. All she says is 3 words. It's a plain white background. All she says is 3 words. I am sorry. And that is really powerful because that tells you a lot about her mental state right now. That she feels she failed her loved one. She failed her loved one by doing her duty. And that's an interesting state where she failed the one closest to her because she was pulled away by her job. Very, very powerful panel. It's just her, but that's enough to get the statement across. Batman's heaven is him having Christmas as a little boy with his parents in Gotham, and everything is warm and cozy and nice, and we find out Batman's not actually participating in the heaven. He's not actually there. Batman wants to give into and you can tell he wants to give into the temptation. He wants to give up his duty for his loved ones, but he can't. He can't let himself relax. He has a job to do, and he has to get it done, but he can spare a moment for this heaven and just wish. Batman's wishing. You can tell he's wishing to be part of it, but he knows he can't. And this is true for Batman in the comics too, right? Is Batman could have a family. Batman could stop and have a loved one like Superman, right? Batman chooses a family, but all his entire family that he chooses is tortured and messed up, and they're all crime fighters, and they're consistently going and going and going and going and going until somebody snaps. Right? Batman does not let himself stop and relax and have a family. He has a duty. He has a job to do, and that takes precedence. The three of them now join up, and they're looking for Deadman. Deadman has been finding Dr. Light, and he has found Dr. Light. So he goes and retrieves the rest of the team and brings them to Dr. Light and says, look, Dr. Light is in a bubble, floating, bloop, 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 surrounded by a bunch of other light bubbles on a golden plane. Very pretty, right? That's not the heaven I would choose if I had a choice, because that would feel trapped. But, I mean, Dr. Light's a newborn. He doesn't actually know he's in heaven yet. So when they get there, Katana slices through the bubble, and it explodes. And Dr. Light pops out. He's weak. He's just got to heaven, and he's like, guys, I have no clue what you're talking about. I have no answers for you. This is a dead end. And yeah, Dr. Light knew nothing. While they're talking, we see dozens and dozens of angels fly in through the sky, led by Zoriel, I don't know. They banish Batman, Katana, and Deadman from heaven to purgatory, but they leave the Phantom Stranger. Zoriel's like, you tried to free the souls of your family once before, and I warned you, if you did it again, we would kill you. And you've done it again. So, Zoriel takes his giant sword, and flames start leaping out of it. And I don't know if you can see that, but I was doing the flame hand motion. And Phantom Stranger's burned, right? He's obliterated. However, Phantom Stranger's last thoughts is, with this day, I think the one I betrayed would be proud of me. Jesus, being proud that he was trying to do the right thing. I don't know. Nobody will ever know because Stranger's dead. In the meantime, a couple things have been occurring. Pandora has been trying to find the Darkest Hearts. Lex Luthor obviously must be the Darkest Hearts. Vandal Savage wasn't. We realize that now. Lex Luthor's the Darkest Hearts. We don't get to find out if he is yet. Because Superman and his team have been hunting down Dr. Psycho. He's currently operating on some patients, trying to warp their mind, push him to the edge, just drive a little bit insane. And then when the Justice League shows up, Psycho has to scramble. Like when you're a single villain faced down by a good group of the Justice League, some powerful members like the Martian Manhunter, John, Cyborg, Green Arrow, some other people I don't remember, you can run. And there's some cool mind trickery kind of things where Arrow pulls a normal arrow and fires it at Dr. Psycho, but Martian Manhunter's like, no, Arrow, that's not Psycho, that's Cyborg, and that's an explosive arrow. And then you see Cyborg get blown up. I can't explain it because I'm bad at it, but it's a cool panel. Seeing the trickery, right? And it's cool watching a villain know he's outmatched. This villain knows he's outclassed, and he's fleeing for his life, man. And he's running out the cave trying to get away, and he almost does, but then comes Superman, because Superman can see stuff. Superman flies down looking like he's been throwing up for the past hour. And he traps Psycho, and then John, now that he's trapped, goes up and probes Psycho's brain because John gets to probe Psycho's brain because John is a Martian, and probing is what Martians do. So he probes the brain and realizes Psycho knows nothing about how Superman went crazy. He was just told by the Outsider and the rest of his group that he needs to go to Kahndaq and just stay in a hotel for a little bit. So their whole chase is a dead end. There's no results here. So they leave. Did they leave Psycho? I don't know. Let me know. Batman's team finally gets inside the mansion. So that is Catwoman, Green Lantern, Flash, some other people. They finally get in the mansion. They see the mirror. Catwoman asks who's the strangest of them all. They see the Phantom Stranger. and he pushes Batman, Katana, and Deadman out the mirror, which is a cool scene because you see them, those three jumping out the mirror, shards of glass are flying everywhere. Excuse me. And they get out, they're reunited finally. Superman's team are over here. Their whole chase was a dead end, almost like it was planned. Boop. And Wonder Woman's team. Well, Wonder Woman's team are chasing Pandora, which is exactly where we find them next. As Pandora is about to hand the box to Lex Luthor, which would not be a bad thing. If one, Lex Luthor is the darkest of hearts, he gets to open the box. And we finally get to see the result. Two, if he's not, he just breaks down and cries because he has a shred of humanity. It's one or the other. But you know who stops Pandora? Wonder Woman. She lassos the box and pulls it and she grabs it and she turns evil in another good panel. And we see an evil Wonder Woman, which looks very mythologized, right? Like you would see this in a Greek story. As opposed to Superman just turning like everything about him looked dark and gray and it felt more evil. Hers is more mythological evil. And that's the end of the second comic. Those are two comics that I've covered. And both of them, when they're part of the entire arc, I really enjoy. I don't think I would have bought them by themselves. One, because one was a Phantom Stranger comic and I wouldn't buy that. But by themselves, I don't think the stories hold up. They're probably not worth the $3 for each part of the story. And while I get they're not supposed to find a true answer, there's nothing to make it a mystery, right? So none of the comics here feel like a mystery. They feel like we're waiting for the plot. So it's not like, oh yes, let's find out who's behind this. It's not like it's a mystery where we can chase down something. It's more, we're waiting for something else to happen. And I feel if, I don't know, maybe another story arc or another comic issue or something where we can see the mystery unfold, that'd be cool. Because right now we're just waiting for the plot to happen because everyone else is chasing stuff that has no answer or any clue or anything. So overall, as a whole, I enjoyed it. My personal preferences for story aside, the art was great. There's some very cool panels. Katana's was powerful. Her slicing through the bubble was great. Zoriel flying down and doing the flame thing, that was cool. Wonder Woman turning evil was cool. Superman breaking through the cave ceiling, that was cool. But yeah, if you have any feelings about these two comics, if you felt the story was good, let me know. If you thought it was terrible and you agreed, let me know in the comments down below. But I have nothing else to say. Thank you for joining us in the LongBox. Have a good one.